Why is telling the truth so difficult? Why do we need help to see reality for what it is or was? Why is it often easier to tell a little white lie to ourselves or others? If you struggle with telling the truth, you may not be connected to your emotional needs. You might avoid confronting unpleasant emotions and lie to avoid difficult moments. This video will explain why this happens, provide examples of how childhood experiences affect adult life, and discuss how we can use this information to build better relationships with ourselves and others. I hope you enjoy the video. Our emotional framework, the way we understand and express our feelings, takes shape in childhood. Our parents play a significant role in this process, influencing how we handle difficult truths later in life. However, we can reshape our emotional responses and develop healthier coping mechanisms. As children, we absorb the reality that our parents reflect back to us. There may have been instances when our parents, instead of facing a difficult truth, chose to lie to us. We internalize their responses and subconsciously adopt the same strategies for dealing with ourselves and others later in life. In those moments, when your parents lied to you, they decided, should we find a way to communicate the hard truth or should we lie? Lying seems easier because we don't want to validate the child's reality. So we'll avoid the moment altogether. After all, we're parents and we believe the child isn't mature enough for our response. But always remember that your reality is valid and deserves to be acknowledged. It's a cornerstone of your emotional well-being, and understanding this can bring you a sense of peace as we're talking about this. This might seem like a good strategy, as if the parent shields the child from the hard truth. However, the long-term effects can be detrimental. The parent may not realize that in difficult moments, the child is learning how to respond to difficult truths they will encounter later in life. As a result, the child grows up feeling that their emotions are dismissed, leading them to wonder, what's the point in telling others how I feel? Avoiding difficult truths can lead to a lack of emotional expression and understanding, harming personal relationships and emotional well-being. In childhood, the child needs to hear some version of the truth. Parents might think this truth will scare the child, but in reality, the child is more afraid of feeling alone, confused, and without guidance on an issue that they believe is important. As a child, when you cannot make sense of your surroundings, you rely on external input from your parents. If your environment changes and you don't understand why, you often label it as fear until an adult provides insight or protection. This is an essential survival skill for kids. When your environment changes, you seek advice from your parents, typically searching for a hard truth and needing guidance. Suppose your parents cannot provide insight and protection, however, avoiding your questions or dismissing your reality. In that case, you label everything around your initial concern as fear and continue with your normal activities as a child. Let's continue to follow our child into life and see what happens when parents refuse to connect with the child's reality. Because the parents have emotionally abandoned the child is left labeling everything as fear because the parents could not be the safety net the child needed them to be. This feeling that something is wrong floats inside of the child's body even into adulthood. Without your parents helping you make sense of your surroundings, you struggle to make sense of your reality on your own. You try to make sense of your surroundings through self-blame and self-doubt. Let's start with self-blame. It's much easier to blame yourself than to process the difficult moment you initially struggled with. Plus, your parents don't seem capable of helping you, so self-blame seems like a decent option instead of labeling the entire world as fear. So it's easier to tell yourself, I am a bad person for bringing this up to my parents. It's my fault this happened. I caused the pain. Remember, we internalize the reality that was reflected back to us by our parents. So because our parents were not the safe people we needed them to be, we were left to sort things out independently. This is emotional abandonment. The only ways we know how to make sense of our reality are by self-blame and what we learned from our parents, which we're avoiding and dismissing, which leads to self-doubt, and self-doubt looks something like this. Maybe my parents are right. Maybe this is not a big deal. Maybe I'm being a big baby. If they saw something truly wrong, they would be the ones to let me know. If you used self-doubt, you learn to avoid, dismiss, and doubt your instincts, emotions, and feelings. You constantly rely on others to validate your reality, to check and make sure that what you see right in front of your very eyes is in fact real. You were taught that your reality does not exist. One can only imagine how difficult normal decision-making processes can become when you don't even believe that your experience is real. This can manifest as executive functioning problems, which may appear as learning problems and an inability to process your thoughts later in life. What you needed was a parent who would approach a difficult moment, not avoid it, and respond truthfully. Your parents could not regulate their emotions, so they could not help you or teach you how to regulate yours. You also learned to avoid and dismiss your reality. This is generational trauma. If your parents had helped you address the hard truths, you would have learned how to regulate your emotions and respond to difficult moments. A simple, "I believe you were right for noticing that," would heal many wounds. How often did you hear your parents respond with, "I believe you"? How many times did you hear that in childhood? If parents confirm their child's perception as accurate, it leads to the development of healthy habits later in life. It becomes dangerous if the parent does not confirm the child's perception, leaving the child to question if their reality is real. This is especially dangerous later in life. For example, if you question your reality, you won't be able to recognize if you are in an abusive relationship or not. You might stay in an abusive relationship because you desperately need someone else to validate your reality, even if they say it's not real, just to have some idea of what could be real. Later in life, this inability to recognize your reality can become an inability to stand up for yourself and enforce boundaries. You may allow people to abuse you, and you may allow yourself to be disrespected, and you may stay in a terrible environment because you cannot understand if what you experience is real. How would you determine if something is good or bad if you don't even know it's happening? Then you tell yourself you are overreacting and dismiss your reality. Does that process sound familiar? Is that exactly what your parents did to you during a difficult moment? Teaching you that this is how you respond to difficult moments. You may even hear their voice in your head, coaching you through denying your reality as it happens right before you. We know what happened, but how do we fix it? We need to start battling the old programming and begin validating our reality. The origin of the problem is avoidance. You learn to avoid the truth. Some examples of how we can begin validating our reality are by telling ourselves things like, "I am allowed to feel this way. What I just experienced was real. It's okay to be upset. Something crazy just happened. I am still a good person. I'm just having a hard time." Phrases like these will slowly begin planting the idea that your reality is not dangerous. It is simply your reality, and it's accurate and true. What you experience is valid and real, and we also need to begin honoring our own experiences. If we are around a narcissistic manipulator who does not treat us well, it's okay to say that they're a narcissistic manipulator and you're not overreacting. You're just calling it as it is. You are being authentic. You're not around calling the nice lunch lady at school a narcissistic manipulator because your instincts tell you that she isn't. You know what is good for you and what is not. Return to your instincts, validate them, reconnect with them, and honor them. They tell you something nobody else can see or say. You need to believe them. You need to connect with yourself and feel your presence in this world. You need to respond to your reality with acknowledgement and permission to feel. Release the labels on emotion. Happiness is not any better than sadness. And release your death grip on your feelings and allow them to exist. Acknowledging them when they get bigger and when they need to be seen, and enabling them to stay as long as necessary. There is a reason you feel the way that you do. That reason exists. You exist, and your perception of your reality exists. Stop avoiding what is real, what is right in front of your eyes, and allow your reality to be seen. The truth can be hard sometimes, but we will never walk again if we don't try. So in summary, connect with yourself, connect with others, get involved in your community, and stop avoiding. Face the difficult moments in truth and live in truth. The real adventures of life can begin once we start living in truth. We only perpetuate the suffering if we dismiss, avoid, and deny. That's all I have for this video. I hope you can take something from it, and until next time.